Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us on our third episode of the Capital CREU. And today we are so excited to have my dear friend, Audra Richmond, with us, as well as we have Shane Roach as well.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Audra. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us. Yes, it's so good to see you again. And thank you for coming on and doing this episode with us. We really wanted to share all our amazing friends that have become lenders with us and share your experience working with us. But first, give us a little background on who Audra is, how'd you get into real estate, and more importantly, how about private money lending?
Great. Yes, and it's nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me. So a little bit about me. I jumped into private money lending, probably not the more normal trajectory, but who knows what's normal these days. But more, let's see. Well, let me give you background first about me. So I started out at CU Boulder and got a communication degree in 2005. And then immediately jumped into recruiting and ended in medical tech as my niche. I found the desk job wasn't all for me, just straight all the time, nose the grindstone at my computer, and had the opportunity to get into the cannabis space and found out about that through a neighbor who was doing medical growing of, medical marijuana for patients. And my husband was at the time, late husband now, was very interested in that. And he's like, hey, would you entertain jumping into that and stepping away from recruiting? If, I took a little nest egg and I had one as well, and we try it. So jumped straight into that in 2009 and did the whole entrepreneurial business thing. Learned a lot, was the, jack of all trades and master of none while you go along and follow the regulations. And then spawned out a tragedy. My husband passed in 2019. And I had, through life insurance, some money in the bank. And then shortly after that, and just grieving, about a year went by. Figured out it was not very easy to raise a child and meet corporate standards, as well as going back into cannabis was challenging with a 5-year-old at the time. So COVID made that even more difficult with closing of schools. And I was like, well, how do I survive? And I found Teresa Todd on Facebook and the REIN, so Women's Real Estate Investment Network, and decided that, real estate might be suited for me. And it's a bit of a mix with recruiting and what I did with cannabis and getting out and talking to people and connecting the dots, and using a lot of the skill sets that I had prior and putting that to work. And I had to make a decision, and it was either real estate or going back to school for a full 4 years. And I was like, I need to do something now. I didn't think studying for 4 more years was going to suit me either. So how I became a PML was through, just kind of tragedy and money in the bank and figuring out what I'm going to do next.
Out of that REIN group, we've had quite a very high percentage of our private money lenders came out of that REIN group. And what we found is you are like the perfect match for what we call our demographic, right?
Oh.
Female, entrepreneur, professional, you're to a T. So, and that's the type of person that we see a lot who's out in this industry making waves and doing great, big, huge changes to the whole industry. So we appreciate all that you do. I know on a daily basis, it's uphill battle sometimes, but you have to engage in life and get your money working for you, not just always out working for the money. So it's good that you recognize that and you got that working.
Thank you.
So what was your biggest challenge or obstacle you faced when starting your lending portion of your real estate?
I would say understanding what in the contracts I should focus on, the pieces that were, pertain to me mostly, to make sure I was protected. Also understanding, because my first deal was more with not a title state, but an attorney state. So understanding the difference and what you do there. And just trusting, again, taking a leap of faith after you've established a relationship with somebody, that this is something you really want to do, and asking the right questions, doing your due diligence, and taking that leap of faith.
We find that a lot of people in their first deal, you're really hung up on that first leap of faith. They look at the numbers 100 different times. They talk to 100 different people, run it by their attorney, but it's that last leap of faith when you have to wire money out, you have you to a point where you've checked all the boxes, you dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. Now it's time to go. So we definitely understand that. So how did you come across Cindy? Was that through Rain, or did you meet up with Cindy outside of Rain?
I was trying to figure out which came first. It had to have been, I think it was mutual connections.
Yeah.
And then her marketing. I remember getting, I think, email blasts and then asking around and hearing, positive feedback, and then reaching out myself to her directly. And then I think I found out she was actually in Rain, but I had since gotten my real estate license. And so it kind of all was a blur. I'm like, which avenue did, things start coming in, that. So
I feel like it's been a while since we've connected. So maybe it's been 2 years. So, 2 years maybe now that we first talked.
Yeah. And it's been, very, very positive experience. And mostly all of the Rain ladies I find is a high caliber, and that's where I feel like, I don't know if that's luck and what Teresa, requires, to come and seek mentorship with her. I think because you have to put in such a high dollar amount to get the training, I think these people are more serious in taking the leap as opposed to,
that's a good way to look at it. Mm-hmm.
So
yes, you got to set the bar pretty high to get in. So the people that are there are higher caliber.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Audra, how do you foresee your future with private money lending? Are you going to do more of it, continue doing what you're doing?
So this is just one of my investment strategies, but I find it really lucrative, passively. And I started first, I do see myself continue to do it. And as I get better at knowing, what to ask and establishing relationships, it's going to get easier, I hope, than it was the first time I pulled the trigger and all the stress, that went into it. So I've probably done.
They say millionaires have 7 streams of passive income. So you got to diversify.
Yes. Yeah. So, I've got the rental going, which is not passive, and it's a lot more work. Just different things going on that I'm like, oh my gosh, can't be this hard all the time. And so this has been a nice way to do it. And I feel less stressed too when it's a long-term investment or play out of like my IRA, which normally I wouldn't have never touched those funds, but I've recently dipped again into using those when they're like 5-year term, because it doesn't matter to me right now if I get that money back in a year, and it's better than the stock market. That's for sure.
Oh yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you said something there, it caught my attention, but as we move forward with Cindy and Shane and some of the deals that you've done, what really has stood out stood out with you as to something memorable as far as interactions with Cindy and Shane and you?
Mostly the transparency and communication, telling me, not trying to skim over something, but also in even working with Cindy, I know she was stuck at a deal with in Philadelphia that we were on together, and dealing with a lender, a bank, with a DSCR loan, and they just couldn't push it through, and trying to find a different, bank or lender that would be more workable. So I liked the exchange of communication, being able to offer up solutions, and problem solving together. Even though I'm, more on the outside, it makes you feel more like a partnership.
Well, I think sorry, Shane, I know I just wouldn't interrupt, but I am. But I think as being a borrower, because I've been on both sides of the shoes, Audra, when we did have that Philadelphia, we were about 30 days late on that loan. But I think, and quote me if I'm wrong, or tell me if I'm wrong, but I think what made you comfortable lending again with us is that we communicated with you, and we didn't stop communicating with you. It's when these borrowers just go dark and they stop communicating. Why should people lend to borrowers again if they're dark, right? But I think you felt comfortable lending to us because I always communicated with you.
Yeah, and I liked how you listened, and I was able to offer suggestions, or people I'm like, well, try this if you have it. Though you might have something else going, you're open to hearing ideas as well.
Yep.
So again, Audra, Cindy and I thank you from the bottom of our heart for working with us, sticking with us, and coming back and investing again. And hopefully we can do this many, many more times over the years. So we appreciate you.
Yeah, no, I definitely plan to stay in it with you, and I really appreciate the different types of deals you bring, and you're not just a fix and flip resource, or borrower, but bringing SBA loans and mobile home parks and just really creative lending deals to people like me that I wouldn't necessarily find the Ring Group either.
Absolutely.
Is there anything that Cindy and I can?
We lost Shane.
He froze.
Yeah, he froze. Well, maybe it's the cold weather in Detroit. Well, I think he was going to say, was there anything that Cindy and Shane can do for you that could help you out in your journey?
Oh, that's the question would have to ponder on, but I'm sure I could call you up and let you know.
Yes, you let us know. You let us know. No, we do appreciate you being on, and thank you again for being a PML and being our partner. We appreciate you. We love you.
Well, thank you. I love you guys too.